If you think about it, or if they think about it, the American Indian, or whatever they're in American Indigenous, I don't know what they want to be called. Everybody keeps changing everything they want to be called. Anyway, they claiming to be a warlike, uh, I don't know, warlike people. I don't see that, because if they was warlike, their weaponry would have evolved. They wouldn't have still had uh, stone, arrowheads. They would have evolved warlike. It's more like they were compliant with other people's requests. If they were constantly moving around, following whatever, maybe for the seasons, for the food, they just got sick of an area and they just decided to get up and move. Maybe they got pushed out of an area. Maybe that's the reason they were so mobile, is because there were so many wars and they'd lose one and they'd be pushed out of an area and have to move. Or they'd move into one, they'd win one and move into one. But they wouldn't really, if they were just, there might have been more. I don't know how big tribes got it. Was there tens of thousands of teepees being uh, carried, or was there 100,000 people migrating around? I don't know. You don't really hear about the numbers. If a tribe, they say a tribe and there was like, hundreds of thousands, but I think that was like groupings of people that agreed on the same idea of possibly war. But I don't think if there was a warlike people, they would have evolved their weaponry. But that was mostly basically what they used to hunt. They weren't really a warlike people. I mean, there might have been some stuff they did. They had, I don't know if they all had people that were called, braves. That might be the uh, English term for it or whatever. And maybe they had different reasons. But anyway, I was just thinking, they didn't evolve their weaponry like all the other countries evolved weaponry, because they're warlike. I mean, if you think of Europe, I mean, look how they evolved their weaponry, and all these other countries that aren't really into weaponry are trying to evolve into that, and it doesn't make sense, because they probably got something better that their people would be good at, but instead they're just following the trend of what's the most powerful, and they're afraid to not be the most powerful, because they think they're going to take, if there's one country to be taken over by, to not worry about it, be the U.S. I think, as long as they weren't having to take over by war. If they just walked in and said, hey, we're taking over your country, and you're a third world country, I don't, the only people that would be disheartened by that would be the government, because they'd lose power and all the control they have over destroying the people. I mean, if they're third world, they're probably destroying the people. But if the U.S. walks in there, of course, there's a lot of industry. That's supposedly the world's turning more. What is it? Not economic, but ecological. Turning more eco. So they're like tuning down the destructive rate of what they do, except they're not really doing it, because I mean, look at all the rainforests that are disappearing. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I was just thinking, I thought, the American Indian, they didn't evolve their weaponry. It was just like that was what they hunted with, and that's what they went to. I mean, it's not like you didn't ever hear about them having. They didn't have shields. I don't think. I don't know. I just never hear or read or anything about them having shields. So there was never I don't think there's ever a warlike. Now I don't know about Mexico. I don't know about South America and all them people down there if they had evolved weapons, if they had shields. I don't know. But I mean, they didn't even have shields, or did they? I don't know. I don't remember unless they picked up shields after after the first couple fights with people that they made shields, and then that evolved, and it's been going on for 400. They did that for a couple hundred years, and they thought, well, this is just part of us or something. That the next generation, their kids grew up and said, oh, we have shields. And then they get into an argument. Oh, well, yeah, we've had shields. Look, we have shields. They didn't think that maybe they got the shield. I don't know. I don't. Their weaponry. I mean, bows and arrows, and that I don't even know. I've never even heard of Indians having spears. They might have had spears. Did they develop? Oh no, they had spears because if they hunted buffalo. But anyway, I'm just saying that I don't think they was a. It just doesn't. If you think about it, they didn't have a. They didn't sit in place, have a defensive structure. They didn't. They didn't evolve their weaponry, so I don't think they were a warlike people. So, I don't know if their intellect is saying that they, battles and this and that. I think they should get into more of what they were. I don't know. I think it's, they got to evolve. Now they came, it was prehistoric, and then all of a sudden they came into the industrial age. So some of them are evolving, some of them aren't. They think they're going to just hold on to their past, and maybe that's what they were. They were just past holder honors, that they just said, well, this is how the people before us did it, and so this is how we do it. And they just never thought of evolving. They were like, maybe they were respectful. They just respected their elders or something, and they said, no, this is how the elders did it, this is how we do it. And people disagreed with that, broke off into other tribes, and that's probably what created different tribes as well. We want to do it this way, or maybe it was just strict respectful traditions or something. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, but I think they should, they should take, they just discount any new ideas that would help them out. Like I'm thinking, if they had not nurseries, but greenhouses. Can you imagine all the food they'd have if they had greenhouses? I mean, they could grow all this fruit. I mean, there's some guy in Nebraska or someplace like that is growing oranges in Nebraska, and he says they're better tasting. He's growing tropical fruit in Nebraska from thermal greenhouses. I mean, they could. I don't know. I think they should learn to take a good idea and better themselves instead of just. It's almost berating that they're the conditions they live in. I know they don't have any money. I think there are those millionaire Indians that are getting. They're all millionaires apparently, but not all of them. It's because some decide, hey, we're sick of being. We need some money. That's what it's going to take. Instead of it used to be, I don't know. It used to be. Maybe it was energy. Maybe they had energy to go out and move around and collect food and stuff. And now they're stuck in one place. And maybe their energy's zapped from. I don't know. I just think they should adapt to new ideas. But that's of course, you're talking a prehistoric culture compared to an industrialized culture or a growing, an evolving culture. And I think that's what the clash is. I don't know if, sooner or later this country would have been taken over. And luckily it wasn't nowadays. Luckily they didn't say, oh, you know what, we've been flying over this country, there's nothing there. And so I was just thinking, they didn't evolve their weaponry. They didn't have a defensive structure. They didn't build defensive structures. It was just mobile. It was like skirmishes. So maybe that's what prehistoric people were. They weren't actually warlike. They just had skirmishes.